Maverick's encapsulative money theory. M0, M1, M2, money multiplier, total M2, GDP ratio, marginal M2, GDP ratio, and monetary policy efficiency? Money theory offers a captivating exploration of the intricate role money plays in an economy and its impact on various economic factors. A key aspect of money theory is the complex relationship between central banks, commercial banks, and the money supply. In this comprehensive overview, we will delve deeper into these interactions, the money supply's different categories, and the significance of the M2 GDP ratio. We will also discuss the implications of the United States' mounting debt on monetary policy and fiscal policy, along with the possible effects of high interest rates. Central banks, like the Federal Reserve in the United States, are responsible for implementing monetary policy by controlling the money supply and interest rates. These banks rely on commercial banks to help execute their policies, as commercial banks act as primary intermediaries between the central bank and the public. Through adjusting reserve requirements, lending rates, or utilizing other financial tools, central banks can indirectly influence commercial banks' lending activities. This, in turn, impacts the money supply and overall economic activity. For instance, during a period of slow economic growth, a central bank may lower interest rates to encourage borrowing and spending. Commercial banks, in response, lower their lending rates, making it more attractive for businesses and individuals to take out loans. This increased borrowing and spending can stimulate the economy and promote growth. The money supply is divided into various categories, which represent different levels of liquidity. These categories are as follows. 1. M0, monetary base. This is the most liquid form of money and includes currency in circulation and central bank reserves. Examples include the cash in your wallet and the coins in your piggy bank. 2. M1. This category includes M0, along with checking deposits and other demand deposits. M1 represents the money that can be easily accessed and used for transactions. An example of M1 would be the funds in your checking account, which can be readily used for purchases or bill payments. 3. M2. This category encompasses M1, as well as less liquid forms of money, such as savings deposits, small denomination time deposits, and retail money market funds. M2 is a broader measure of the money supply, capturing not just funds readily available for transactions, but also those that can be converted into cash with relative ease. For instance, the balance in your savings account is part of M2. The money multiplier is an essential concept that illustrates how much the money supply expands due to commercial bank lending activities. The money multiplier depends on factors like reserve requirements and can change over time. If the reserve requirement is 10%, banks can lend out 90% of their deposits. This 90% is then redeposited into other banks, and the process repeats itself, leading to a significant increase in the overall money supply. The ratio of M2 to GDP, gross domestic product, is a vital indicator of the relationship between the money supply and the overall economic output. A higher ratio suggests that there is more money circulating in the economy relative to the value of goods and services produced. The marginal ratio of M2 GDP refers to the change in this ratio over time, influenced by factors like inflation, economic growth, and shifts in monetary policy. Now, Let's discuss the implications of the United States mounting debt on monetary policy and fiscal policy, along with the possible effects of high interest rates. As of now, the U.S. government's total debt has surpassed $30 trillion. This mounting debt raises concerns about the effectiveness of monetary policy and the potential consequences of high interest rates. For example, the Federal Reserve has recently raised interest rates to 5% in an attempt to curb skyrocketing inflation. While this measure can help mitigate inflation, it also has repercussions on the government's debt servicing costs. With more than $30 trillion in debt, the U.S. government will have to pay a higher interest expense, potentially straining the fiscal budget and diverting funds from other essential public services and investments. This scenario illustrates the delicate balance between monetary policy and fiscal policy. On one hand, tightening monetary policy by raising interest rates can help control inflation and stabilize the economy. On the other hand, higher interest rates increase the government's debt servicing burden, which can have negative consequences for fiscal policy and public spending. Moreover, high interest rates can also impact private sector borrowing and investment. As borrowing becomes more expensive, businesses and individuals may reduce their spending and investment activities, potentially slowing down economic growth. This situation exemplifies the interconnectedness of monetary policy, fiscal policy, and economic growth, emphasizing the importance of carefully managing these factors to ensure stability and sustainable development. Another important consideration in this context is the potential for monetary policy to be canceled out by fiscal policy or high interest rates. If the government continues to accumulate debt and spends excessively, it could negate the effects of tighter monetary policy. In such a case, the central bank's efforts to control inflation and stabilize the economy may be undermined by the government's fiscal actions. As a hypothetical example, imagine the Federal Reserve raises interest rates to combat inflation, while the government simultaneously increases spending on large-scale infrastructure projects. This increased government spending could counteract the intended effects of the rate hike, as it injects more money into the economy, fueling inflationary pressures. In conclusion, money theory offers a fascinating exploration of the complex relationships between central banks, commercial banks, and the money supply. Understanding these interactions and their impact on economic variables is crucial for policymakers and investors alike. The example of the United States mounting debt and its potential consequences on monetary policy, fiscal policy, and high interest rates demonstrates the importance of striking a delicate balance between these factors to ensure sustainable and stable economic development. In a world of ever-changing financial dynamics, careful management of monetary and fiscal policies is paramount to the long-term success and stability of any economy.